Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Mint FB. Now today is going to be something very different for this channel. Normally I do unboxings and reviews and stuff in the fingerboarding scene, maybe random edits or vlogs. But today I'm trying out something new. Now I'm gonna call it like Mint Mumbles or something like that. I don't know, I'll figure out the title later. But I want to start posting at least a monthly kind of recap and just my thoughts on fingerboarding and stuff in the scene. And I feel like there's a lot of drama in the fingerboarding scene, at least compared to a lot of other hobby spaces that I've been in, I guess. But it's so strange because in person, if you ever go to an event, if you ever go like hang out with anybody in the fingerboarding scene, it is so supportive. But when you hop on Instagram, and I guess this is the internet in general, things get super toxic and super messy. Lots of like, I don't even know. You guys can see my laptop in the freaking fisheye lens. I'm gonna leave it. We keep it real and raw here on Mint FB. But I wanted to just kind of touch on something that briefly got discussed during one of my streams, my first ever fingerboard stream. It was a blast. Shout out y'all who made it to that. But it kind of spurred the idea for this. I was like, dang, I would really like to speak on this. And I always tout myself as real and raw. Like I give real, honest feedback, even if it's kind of difficult to do so without hurting some feelings. Like I always try to keep it really respectful. I'm going to do so with Mint Mumbles or whatever. I don't know. Rambles. I don't know. But today's subject is everything that went down with Blackriver and its Chicago store. I kid you not, I was eventually going to go. Apparently it's being replaced by another fingerboard shop basically immediately after it closes. And I didn't realize, I should have assumed, that Blackriver was only stocking Blackriver products, which was interesting. I don't know why I didn't think of that. I was like, oh, a fingerboard shop stocks all kinds of stuff. But I guess they were only stocking Blackriver? I'm not sure. Let me know in the comment section down below if I'm wrong on that. Now, I've watched vlogs and it looks like a really sick spot. It really does. I think they do sell other brands now that I think of it, because doesn't Knife like hang out there all the time and they do collabs and stuff? I don't know. But it's shutting down. And it was like an out of the blue, like, hey, we're shutting down in October. Sorry. And the letter I found was really interesting. It cited a few problems. I think they cited tariffs or something. Like I'm saying, I just felt impulsive. I'm doing this right now. I don't have it pulled up. So if I'm wrong, I'll correct myself in the comments, or you guys will correct me, I'm sure. But they made all these excuses, or maybe they're legitimate things. I will never know. None of us will ever know until it's confirmed by someone directly involved. But it sounds... But at the very end, I thought it was interesting. The last thing they mentioned, and they worded it in an interesting way too. They're like, and of course, our own mistakes. But it was the last thing they mentioned. It's almost like they mentioned all of these things beforehand, and then they're like, and of course, our mistakes. Kind of, that insinuates to me, as someone who enjoys reading, who has written for a job, like literally written articles, and that's what put me through college. As a writer, that makes me feel like they're trying to minimize their involvement by tacking it on at the end. And maybe you can take that in a different way where it's at the very end, it's the most recent thing you read, so that's the most recent in your mind, but I don't see it as that. They listed all these things and then a very vague like, and mistakes on our part. So that was my number one worry there. And from what I could tell, Chicago, yes, a storefront, their location was awesome. I think they were probably paying out their nose. I don't know what they had, what lease they wrote or whatever for that location. But it had to be primetime real estate, and they had to be paying a pretty penny. But it did seem like the local scene and people traveling to it, it seemed like it was pretty successful. Like more successful than I honestly thought. Whenever a fingerboard shop opens up, I hate to admit it, but my initial thoughts are, this is a very niche hobby, and that includes having more niche individuals that will be coming to that spot. And that means you don't have as wide of a customer base unless your storefront is also online. Like I think Slush Cult has been as successful as it has been is because they have limited days that they're open. Their online store is super good. They are always stocked with all kinds of different stuff. Their online store is quick and efficient as well. Like, they've diversified. They're not solely relying on the storefront to fund the store. And with Chicago, what worried me initially is that anything I wanted to order Blackriver, I was like, sick, they got a Chicago storefront. I'm going to be able to order Blackriver products directly from that store, and I don't have to wait for it to ship from Germany. Boy, was I wrong. It defaults to Germany anyways, which doesn't make sense to me. So I already figured that there's some sort of shipping issue or product issue or storage issue. I don't know what's going on, but that single-handedly kept me from ordering from Blackriver because I wanted to support a fingerboard store. You guys know me. I like supporting. I buy a lot of stuff. Let's be real. I like supporting fingerboard brands. I like supporting companies that I fuck with. And Blackriver is an OG in the scene. I have one pair of Blackriver trucks. I'm not going to front and act like I'm the biggest Blackriver fan, but those trucks are solid. The 3.0 trucks are solid. I've enjoyed them a lot. I have them set up right back there on my One Love deck, and it's a great setup. So they make good products. I have one of my favorite obstacles I have is a Blackriver kicker. Simple, efficient, $15 or something off of Slush Cult, ironically, that we were just talking about it. They make decent stuff. Now, has the quality gone down over time? I hate to admit it. I think it has. Because I've seen a lot of these older Blackriver products that are just like... And even with this right here, there were mistakes. Like, it came chipped. You could tell that there was a mistake with one of the staples as well right here, and it just made a huge indent. But I'm not that picky. Like, it's still usable. Is the quality as good as it has been? It sounds like it's gone down. So that's another thing that I was kind of worried about with this Blackriver store. And now you guys are seeing why it's Mint Mumbles. It takes me forever to get to the point. So all of these things kind of made me feel like, man, this store might struggle. But it does seem like a lot of people are making vlogs there. It does seem like the local scene. I follow a few people in the local scene. I think his name is Bart. I don't know how I ended up following him or whatever. But he was there a lot, and it seemed like they had nightly sessions, man, like good amounts. And it seemed like people were picking up product from that store. So I was like, man, they're at least breaking even, at least from an outside perspective. So when this dropped, I was like, oh, I'm not surprised, but yet I am, because I don't know. I felt like it was like 50-50, but this is way sooner than I expected. I thought maybe if they close, it'll be within like 3 years. They're going to have a solid first year, but it's like a year. So there's something weird going on. There really is. Either it's Blackriver's company as a whole is doing worse, and they had to cut off their American company and just keep the German side alive, or some people made some really dumbass decisions, especially monetarily, to where this couldn't happen, or it's all three. Now, this is the thing that really threw me for a loop. You guys know that I'm a big fan of Catfish BBQ. I think they make quality products, very high quality products. They have a very high standard. Their blems are better than most companies' best. And so they ship out really efficiently. Every order I've done with Catfish, I've done three separate orders, has been flawless. And their boards are great. Their molds are great. I really respect how much effort they put into the art as well as the quality of the product. I feel like that's a lot of companies' mistakes when it comes to pouring too much into the art and not as much into the quality or the functionality of the product, or vice versa. The quality and functionality is sick, but the art is whack. I feel like they have really proven you can do both. Now, with that in mind, I saw them post a story throwing massive shade, and it wasn't even shade. They directly called out Blackriver, which, I mean, I really respect people being upfront and honest. Again, I try to do that on this channel. And this made me question things, because I was like, oh man, that kind of sucks, I guess. Like, I told you guys why I was like, oh man, this is why this Blackriver store. I thought it might close, but not this quickly. This is kind of weird, but hey, they must have just not made enough money, kind of thing. And I left it at that. I see this story and it makes me question. It sounds like there's some very sketchy stuff going on behind the scenes, according to Catfish BBQ, as well as dishonesty when it comes to their trucks and how they are made. Now, on the packaging and stuff, I don't even know. I don't have my Blackriver packaging anymore, but I have consistently thought that the trucks were solely made in Germany. Now, I that means like welded, poured, whatever you want to, like the molds, everything, the whole factory process, and then assembled by hand in their shop there. I figured it was all done in Germany, but I also knew that it was a possibility that maybe it was outsourced. I know a lot of truck companies will outsource to other countries because simply, especially if in the US, getting things done at factories, most factories will not even give you the time of day because fingerboarding is a niche hobby. How many times do I got to say that? It's a niche hobby, and that means that the amount that you'd order as a company designing trucks and outsourcing this to an American company, they are either going to charge you an insane amount of money to where you can't make profit off of your product, or they're not even going to give you the time of day and just say, nah, we're not producing this niche product. There's not enough profit in it for us. And I think that's why a lot of these truck companies outsource to China. I think that's what happens. And I don't blame them. I think they outsource and then they assemble their trucks. They design them themselves. They outsource to China. They outsource to a cheaper country and then get it shipped back to them. They assemble them and they ship them out to customers. I thought I just kind of assumed that's what happens. So I kind of get why. I don't know. I don't get why people are so shocked that there's a possibility that the trucks aren't actually made there in Germany. I get that. I've seen videos of all the parts and them hand assembling the parts. I've never doubted that they were actually put together in Germany. But is there a possibility that they're outsourcing somewhere outside of Germany? I don't know where it's at. Yes. Now, we've seen Blackriver trucks be ripped off, like down to the skull on the base plate. How did they get it that good? Obviously, there's molding processes where they could make it, but when it's one-to-one comparison, obviously worser tuning and everything. But I'm talking about like the axle and the base plate and stuff, and how it all comes together and it's one-to-one. Maybe there is a possibility that it has been produced in China or somewhere else. Now, this is all hearsay. This is all alleged. Let me clarify right now. Everything I have said and will say in this video so far is alleged. So what I'm saying could be completely wrong, and I fully am aware of that. I'm not saying I'm right or these thoughts. I'm just mumbling. Mint is mumbling. So I'm kind of weirded out by the fact that people are just so shocked and appalled, because I kind of assumed. I don't know, maybe I'm just pessimistic or like very logical with my thought process, because I'm thinking at it from a company perspective. You've got to keep your costs low, and you've got to make enough of a profit to pay your employees and keep your company running. And Blackriver is one of the biggest companies in the scene, period. They have a good amount of employees. For fingerboarding, they're as big as it gets, at least to my knowledge. And so maybe they had to start outsourcing the trucks or something to keep it alive. But the issue at the core of everything, shout out false alarm, by the way. I don't know why I'm holding this and stuff. The core of the issue is it seems like there's a money problem that we don't know about. And it seems like credible people, or people who I deem as credible, Catfish BBQ, has talked to sources and has discovered that there's some sort of dishonesty going on. Something is not clicking. That much I know for sure. And maybe it's not clicking because we don't have enough information. I am very aware of that as well. But it is very unfortunate that all of this is going down, especially with one of the forefathers of fingerboarding, Blackriver. And it, no matter if people think Blackriver is whack or outdated at this point, I'm someone who's never really been into Blackriver or Berlinwood. I've never really cared for their products. I've never really thought they're cool. I do pay them respect for establishing the scene, and they do a lot for the scene. They show up to events, they donate stuff, they really do support the scene. You can't hate on that. I've never particularly super gone out of my way to fuck with them, but I've always respected them, and I will always pay respects to them. But that doesn't mean that they are without fault. That doesn't mean that they're not going to make mistakes. Everyone does. But what's weird is that all of the mistakes they have made, it's been very vague. They've never mentioned anything about it. And it does seem like it's all very abrupt. I just think more communication would go a long way. Speculation just procures even more problematic behaviors, problematic rumors, problematic everything. So those are my thoughts. I don't even know if that's a concrete state of mind or a concrete thought about the whole situation. If it was anybody other than Catfish BBQ, I probably wouldn't give it a second thought. I'd be like, okay, whatever, I'll figure it out later. Someone's gonna let us know. But Catfish BBQ, hot take, I kind of respect what they think, because they've proven time and time again that they're solid on their shit, at least since I've gotten into this scene almost a year ago. So it's very, very fishy. And I think we're going to discover the truth much later on. I wonder if there's NDAs with all the money stuff, and that's why nothing's being talked about above board, and that's why these sources are only talking to specific people anonymously. So I don't know. NDAs signed on what happened. I don't think they're actually making them sign NDAs before even working for Blackriver or whatever. I know that those cost a lot of money. But who knows? Maybe there's contracts involved. I have no idea. But it kind of feels bad. It kind of feels weird. It kind of feels fishy. So this is someone who's just in their own little planet, who's pretty new to the scene, who's a mediocre fingerboarder but loves fingerboarding. The main thing is, I hope everyone doesn't continue to just throw shade at each other, and there's no need for drama in the fingerboarding scene. And I know that there's going to be drama no matter where you look. No matter if it's the fingerboarding scene or the basketball scene or the video game scene, anything on the internet is going to have drama. But I think what makes fingerboarding so fun and unique is that it's so effing supportive. I'm a mediocre fingerboarder, and you're sitting here supporting me, watching this video, and supporting and hyping me up in the comments of my Instagram posts, @MintFB, by the way. Might as well plug it, not club it. Yeah, I think that's what makes fingerboarding so enjoyable in the long run, is everyone's supportive. It's just fun. You're chilling with the homies. You're making new friends. It's a special thing that I don't want to see tainted, you know? So, at the end of the day, who knows what happened? I think the truth always comes to light eventually. And I don't know. Support the companies that you really appreciate. That's all I'm going to say. Support them with your time. Support them with your money. If you can, of course. Prioritize you and your family first. But if you have some extra income, make sure to support the companies that you love. You never know when they're going to be here or when they're not going to be here. I think that's the biggest deal. Is if Blackriver seems to be struggling, then you never know what other company might be struggling. So appreciate everything. Savor the moment. You never know what might happen. And yeah, I think that's my whole thoughts on the matter. And I'm sorry it took me so long to get to that point. I love you guys. I hope you guys are staying safe. Take it easy.